Hello and welcome to Open Door. My guest is Antwoine Washington. He is an artist from Michigan who's been here in Cleveland for about 10 years, and he currently has an exhibition in a space that he has co-founded called the Museum of Creative Human Art. Welcome to Open Door, Antwoine.
How everybody doing? Glad to be here.
All right, glad to have you. So we'll talk about the exhibition and some things that you have in that exhibition, but I just want to get a sense of your history. So you moved here from Detroit 10 years ago. Talk about your life in Detroit.
Yeah, it was just growing up like any inner city kid, just kind of growing up around hip hop, growing up around I'll say like a bunch of culture in the city, seeing black mayors, being able to experience that, being able to experience black police chiefs, police officers, learning the history about the black judges and lawyers and different things like that. So it was just rooted in a lot of sense of like a community. I come from a small city outside of Detroit, actually called Pontiac, Michigan. And so it's really was really rooted in that. Just a lot of culture around just blackness, man, and I really enjoyed it growing up.
Okay, when did you make your connection with art?
Oh yeah, I always drew. I think I would say like what really draw me to art would say like seeing watching my sitting on the couch with my great grandmother and her watching Good Times and seeing JJ paint and seeing the famous photo, I believe Ernie Barnes painted it of Saturday Night. Forgot the name of the actual painting. I think it's called Saturday Night something live or something like that. But those paintings kind of like drew me into an interest of art, and then cartoons and wanting to recreate my own characters and different things like that kind of drew me into art. I'll say that more so on the cartoon side, but as far as like understanding black art, I would say Good Times.
Okay, so it was Ernie Barnes that opened the door for you.
I would say yes.
Okay. And so you said that you were doing drawings, and I know your exhibition is a mixed media type installation. Describe how you expanded from doing just the drawings to the multiple things that you create.
Right. It's just finding powerful ways to tell stories. I think as an artist coming up, I thought, you would see so many artists being put in boxes, and I just didn't want to be put in a box. So yes, I could draw, but I wanted to be able to tell stories about my life and my culture and what's going on with black people across this nation through just different various of objects and different ways of just expressing how I feel and my point of view.
Okay, so talk about the creation of the Museum of Creative Human Art.
Museum of Creative Human Art is an art initiative for youth and local artists. We have right now a two tentacle type of deal that we're working out. Currently, I've been really working on this for the last 5 years. Since I moved to Cleveland, I really been trying to figure out how to engage in youth programming, because I have always done it and organized in that way back home. And so when I came here, it was only right for me to find a need and try to serve. And that's just who I am at heart, and it's in my nature. So it's pretty much an youth art initiative that serves underserved kids. And I think I would love to say that it's a quote that I always use is that I wanted to be the person for somebody that I needed when I was growing up. And so that's how it was started, and that's what it's been, and that's where it's going. And so I would say that in the long and the short of things is just me finding the need to help young black youth and finding ways to elevate their voices and their creativity through our organization.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find the space that you're presently located?
Oh, yeah. Actually, they reached out to me. They seen the work that I was doing in the community. They seen a lot of the different classes and different things I was doing with the youth, and then they also seen my work as an artist, and so they wanted me to come over to do actual solo show there in their space. And so I ended up turning them down and said, no, I would like to do something a lot more that will actually elevate the voices of the collective more so than just myself. I thought it would only be right for me to use this opportunity to elevate others. And so they loved the idea and they loved the concept. And so they allowed me to come into the space and to be able to allow that to happen. So I was grateful and thankful for them to open the doors to me.
Okay. You're from Michigan, so you may not be completely familiar with the history of Cleveland, but Cleveland has had this reputation as being one of the most segregated cities in the country. And the dynamic that has existed is that black folks live on the east side and white folks live on the white side, on the west side. So, the fact that you are on the west side, specifically in Lakewood, means that you are definitely blazing a trail. I'm just wondering if you had an awareness of that and what your thoughts are about it.
Most definitely. I had definitely aware because my wife she's born and raised here in Cleveland, and she went to Collinwood High School. That's what she graduated from. So she definitely gave me the history on how the segregation is, because I'm an East Sider too. So I live on the East Side. So I see the segregation. Like as soon as I moved there, I'm like, oh wow, it's like that, huh? And so she's like, yeah. So I knew a little bit about the history, not in depth, but I knew a little bit about the history of how it is between the East Side and the West Side, and how you have whites on one side and blacks on the other side. But when this opportunity came, I was up for the challenge, because to be honest with you, me having that space over there, I get a lot of pushback from people in my community about being over there. and so it's a challenge, but it's something that I'm up for if I can continue to get the support from my people.
Okay. And in terms of the children that you're serving, who specifically is showing up?
I'll say, man, to be honest with you, it's been a lot of black kids that's been showing up, but surprisingly too, it's been all cultures, man. We have white kids in there. We have just pretty much like a little bit of everybody has been showing up, but mainly our people, as black people, have been showing up in great numbers. So across the board, young boys, young men, and also our young ladies are showing up as well. So, man, it's been overwhelming to see the amount of young black youth that want to get into art.
Mm-hmm. So the place, for those who don't know, is it's a space over May Halls, which is a bowling alley, a performance venue, and gallery over there in Lakewood. I happen to have visited the space to observe your exhibition, and I have to tell you, brother, I was just blown away by what you have installed there. There were a couple of pieces that really spoke to me. One of them was the one that depicts the hands on the rope on the background of a black and white flag.
Yep.
So tell me about that piece specifically, because it just really intrigued me.
Yeah. So that talks about like the black community, our community in particular, of how we have taken on. So I use, for people to add some context to that too, to add people who are listening in. It's basically a black and white flag, and it has a wedge in the middle of the flag, and so that represents the black community. That flag does in black and white, and how we've also taken on this self-hate and this consciousness of white supremacy, and we actually perpetuate that onto ourselves. And so it's having a conversation with the other tables, but in particular, this table is talking about that and how we are in this tug of war within our community, where if we just drop the rope and we pull and we grab each other's hands and pull ourselves in, that we can do a lot more together than divided. And so that in particular, that wedge that you see of those arms in the middle of the community is what America has set in the middle of our community to have us fighting over these illusionary things that we seem to feel that we have as money and land that we don't own. And so I wanted to have a deeper conversation around how we can better serve and come together as a community. And all we have to do really is drop the rope or stop lynching each other, whether it's with our words, whether it's with guns, whether it's with drugs in our neighborhoods and in the cities. Because this is going on across the world, not just here in Cleveland, but across the nation. And so I just want to have a larger conversation of how we can come together and better serve our communities.
Okay. So we're talking about an exhibition that you have titled, about that seat at the table. Is that the correct title, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No, that's exactly right.
Okay. And it's part of a larger exhibition that has been created by Tanya Autry, who is the, curator-in-residence for the Gun Foundation and Museum of Contemporary Art, Cleveland. We have just a couple of minutes before we do our second segment, but I wanted to get an idea of how you became involved in that exhibition.
Yeah, so me and Latanya have we've met a couple times, and one night in particular, she was at one of a show that I was in called Past Due, which was about reparations, and so it was at Zygo Press, and we met there initially, and then we just kind of continued to build off of her taking a liking to a piece in the installation that I had put in the show. And then from there, she began to continue to follow. And she just reached out to me one day and said she had an idea for a show that she was putting together, curating, and that she wanted me to be a part of it. And she thought that what I was doing in the community fit the scope of us as Black people having to imagine otherwise.
Okay. The exhibition, again, is called Imagine Otherwise. It's taking place in 3 separate spaces, including the Third Space Action Lab over on East 105th Street in the Glenville community. It's over there at the Museum of Creative Human Art at Mayhalls, and I think that's 13200 Madison Avenue in Lakewood, and then the Museum of Contemporary Art. I am speaking right now with Antwoine Washington, and he is the creator of About That Seat at the Table, and it is presently at the Museum of Creative Human Art over there on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. We're going to talk more about that, and we're going to talk more about his exhibition when we return. You're listening to Open Door. I'm Vince Robinson on 95.9 FM WOVU. We'll be right back after this. What can you do in the battle against COVID-19? Your first task, wear a mask, protect yourself and others. Armor up, armor up. Give those hands a 20-second shower with soap and water. Armor up, armor up. Give others space 6 feet just in case. Armor up, armor up. Get good nutrition, ingest for digestion. Armor up, armor up. Vitamin C, D3, and more. Armor up, armor up. Elderberry, zinc, and echinacea from the store. Armor up, armor up. Get some fresh air. Go climb some stairs. Armor up, armor up. Let go of stress. Make sure you rest. Armor up, armor up. Your breath is the key to life. Strengthen your immune system, follow the guidelines, and win the battle against COVID-19. Armor up, armor up. Welcome back to Open Door. My guest is Antwoine Washington, artist and co-founder of the Museum of Creative Human Art at 13200 Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. He has an exhibition that is part of a larger exhibition called Imagine Otherwise that has been created by the Museum of Contemporary Art Cleveland, a.k.a. MoCA. We talked about that piece that involves the hands and the ropes, and I noticed that you didn't have names for the pieces in your collection. There were a couple of others that really resonated with me, and one of them is that mural that you have on the wall that shows Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman and Coretta Scott King and others, and then there's a woman who is a central figure on that. So I have to ask the question: who is that woman?
That's a photo that I drew of my wife.
Okay.
And so she represents the modern day black woman.
Okay. I had a conversation with a young man who was there as the docent, so to speak, and he told me that was his guess in terms of who that was. The young man that I'm speaking of is Aaron Williams. It was a delightful conversation that we had, and as a result of that conversation, I'm having him as a guest on my television show. So thank you to you, brother, for having him in that space. And obviously he had a really good idea of who his partner and friend, Antwoine Washington, was. And,
sure.
And I also have to mention that he's going to be doing an exhibition, a solo exhibition in that space come June. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I want to dig back into your exhibit. There's another mural that shows a black young man who is facing the sun, and he's got a couple of pairs of black fists, and there's the word free. Yeah. Talk about that piece and what your thought process was in creating it.
Yeah, so since we have an organization called the Museum of Creative Human Art, and we work with youth, that's mainly who we deal with within that part of the organization. I thought about how our way to freedom and the way to true justice in this country is to be able to get it through next generation, and each generation has to take it a lot further. And so I feel that the youth is our way to that. And through that, it's our jobs to equip them with the information that they need to be able to lead us to freedom. And so I wanted to show and depict that in a way where people can have some type of hope in leading into what we call today freedom. But it's still asking the question throughout the whole exhibition, are we free? And so, like, as you see in most of the murals, both of the murals with it that's located inside of the space, you see the word free, but they're kind of like blocked. And so it's a way to ask that question, are we really free? And how do we get to that freedom? Because freedom isn't so easy to get to, because we're still fighting for a lot of those things that our ancestors fought for. And so I wanted to just, again, continue to ask those questions so we can start asking ourselves, hey, are we free, and are we feeling free here in America, and what it is that we need to do to get these chains off our feet and off our hands if we feel that way.
Right. So the title of it is, and about that seat at the table. What was the idea behind the title that you gave your show?
Well, the idea was to open it up as a question and as let's have a conversation. And so someone would say, hey, well, yeah, you say that it's easy for you because you got a seat at the table. And then that other person is bringing you into the conversation, which a lot of people view certain people that are in certain positions, and they'll say, well, hey, since you think I got this quote unquote seat at the table, it's more so like saying, hey, all right, come on, sit down with me and let's go have a conversation about this so-called seat at the table. And so that's why I named it, about that seat at the table. Yeah, come on, let's go have that conversation. And I wanted it to kind of lead into the conversation through the work.
Okay. So the central piece in one of the rooms that you staged this is an actual table. And I see a consistent theme around money. So, and there are a lot of $100 bills laying around up in there. and some folks might get the wrong idea and might be tempted to reach down and grab, but we can say for the record that they're not real bills.
Right. Exactly.
So what's the idea of money in that?
Yeah. So it's the thought and the conception the concept around money that Black people have, and that America has around capitalism and how this country was built, and how we as Black people also put money on this quote unquote pedestal. But in the grand scheme of things, money means nothing. It's not even real. It's not even really a value to it. And so I kind of wanted to just throw the money around and just have it as a backdrop to this larger conversation that we're doing all of this to each other, and we're doing all of these different things to humanity and humans over a piece of paper, something that we put monetary value onto. And oh, sorry about that, Vince. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
And so I just wanted to. I know, like, people always say, "Well, yeah, man, I just got $10,000," and somebody will say, "Well, hey, man, that ain't no real money." And so it goes into that conversation about what's real money and what's not real money. You know, and what you're doing in every position you are, is that money making you feel, whether if it's blood money or however that money makes you feel at night, are you able to live with yourself if you take that money? So it's a conversation about money, wealth, and all those different things, and what money really means.
Yeah. So what I was going to interject was that right now, money is an illusion, and the value of that money is an illusion, because the money is just paper and it's not backed by anything.
Yep. You go.
There.
Yep.
And then the other irony is that we are entering into an age where they're doing a global reset of the economic system. And because of all the stimulus money that's flowing into our economy, we're also looking at the conditions for hyperinflation setting up. So those $100 bills literally are going to be the equivalent of dollar bills.
There you go.
Soon. So, you know,
there you go.
we look at them like, oh, man, that's a lot of money, but it's not.
It's not. And so so Vince, you basically was able to articulate it a lot further than I thought I was allowed to. But there you go. You totally hit it on the nail. It's having that conversation even about how cryptocurrency is coming into play, and how money that's paper isn't backed by anything and doesn't have any type of value to it. And so what you're saying is exactly reason why I put that money on the floor and everywhere throughout the exhibition.
Okay. All right. I knew there was a reason for it. So
yeah.
Okay. So let's take it to the next level. You opened the door and you mentioned cryptocurrency. And while I was there, I had a conversation with Aaron about NFTs.
Yep.
So tell us what you know about NFTs and whether or not it's going to be something that you embrace as an artist.
Now, I'm currently doing a lot of research on NFTs. I know that it's a non-fungible token. I know that it's supposed to have some type of smart contracts and different things that will allow artists who sell work to be able to actually gain royalties off of third-party sales for years to come through the blockchain and smart contracts that's built on an Ethereum blockchain. I am familiar with a little bit about the background of it, but I'm still kind of like really doing my research to figure out how to get involved and actually to be able to create my own NFT and to be able to put my artwork on the blockchain. I'm not going to say that I'm nervous about it. I just got to really figure out how to go about it the right way. So I'm just steady getting educated. I don't know a whole lot, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm an expert on it. But those are some of the things that I know that really pique my interest, is me being able to know that if I sell something of value on there through smart contracts, I'll be able to gain royalties off of other people selling it. Plus, if something happens to me, my family will possibly be able to continue to gain those royalties and percentages or whatever is in that contract. So I think it's a great idea for the future of art, because now most artists don't see anything once they sell it to a gallery for $5,000, and if someone sells it for $100,000, they don't see anything from it. And so I think this will be a way to actually keep some type of ledger or some type of paper trail or whatever you want to call it, some type of trail of, where that value is and how that can come back to the artist. So I think it's a great idea in theory, though.
Yes. So I just wanted to bring that out because I'm becoming much more aware of the impact that cryptocurrency is having on a global economy. And it's really important that we know what's going on with those things so that we can take advantage of it, because other than that, we're going to be on the outside looking in. And while those dollars are shrinking in value and we're being limited in terms of what they're willing to give us for the few jobs that are remaining, we just have to empower ourselves. And this is one of the ways that we do it. So I had to ask that question before it left my consciousness. It was kind of a digression, but I want to go back to the exhibition. So we see money a lot. We also see the accoutrements for a table. So I've seen plates in there. I've seen knives and forks. So there's some kind of relationship to feeding or food. What was that in terms of a thought process for you?
Yeah, because I wanted to play off of the. First of all, I want to play off of the apartment and the whole thing. When you come into an apartment, you're going to see tables, you're going to see plates, you're going to see dinnerware. And so I wanted to kind of play off of that to also say in a white space like Lakewood, in a white area like Lakewood, in a white establishment like Mayhall's, which is downstairs, I wanted to make Black people that came in feel at home and that they were welcome in. But however, it also played case off of the illusionary feeling of Black folks being able to, having a equal seat at the table and eating fairly amongst other races and other cultures within this country. And so it goes into that conversation, and I start to talk about, are we really and if you see on some of some of the tables on the walls, that is plastic forks and knives. They're not really real utensils. And so I wanted to talk about the illusionary feeling of Black people feeling that they have this seat at the table and that they're really eating with their counterparts. But in actuality, if you just make one wrong move with that fork or spoon, it's going to break in half. And then therefore, it's all over for you. And so you can't pass a plastic fork down to the next family. And so you have to throw that away. And so with generational wealth, with fine china and relating it to that, when you go into that, your great grandmother can pass down her china to her grandkids, and it can stay in the family for years to come and generations to come. With plastic, you have to just use it and throw it away. And so I feel like in relation to money, again, that's how it is in our communities, is that we're not building any generational wealth.
Absolutely fascinating. You're listening to Open Door. I'm Vince Robinson, and I am having a conversation with artist Antwoine Washington, who currently has an exhibition at Mayhall's, or the space above Mayhall's, which is being called the Museum of Creative Human Art. I encourage you to go out and check out this exhibition. It is an eye-opening experience, and one that I am sure you will enjoy and reflect upon. Come back. We'll be right here on 95.9 FM WOVU, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station, and I will continue this conversation with artist Antwoine Washington.
Breaking news from the WOVU newsroom.
Hello, I'm Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. Throughout the state of Ohio, there are good, law-abiding citizens making a positive impact on their communities who want to do more. But something stands in their way.
Has a conviction hindered your opportunities for a better life? Have you gone at least 10 years without a conviction in Ohio? Has your clemency application been delayed? If so, you may qualify for the Ohio Governor's Expedited Pardon Project. Governor Mike DeWine is teaming up with the University of Akron School of Law and the Ohio State University Moritz College of Law to help reformed individuals receive pardons more quickly than the traditional process. You can find more information about the project and learn how to submit a free application at ohioexpeditedpardon.org or governor.ohio.gov. To qualify, you must not have any disqualifying offenses, have no convictions, or serve time within the last 10 years, excluding minor traffic violations, made efforts to satisfy requirements of sentencing, a history of volunteering or community service, and a work history or reasonable circumstances for being unemployed. Don't wait to take control of your life. Governor DeWine encourages you to apply for the Expedited Pardon Project because he believes that a past conviction should not cost you forever. Once again, please visit ohioexpeditedpardon.org or governor.ohio.gov for more information on how to submit a free application. That again is ohioexpeditedpardon.org or governor.ohio.gov.
My Expedited Pardon Project will benefit Ohioans who are living in the shadow of a long past and regretted mistake, giving them the opportunity to truly have a second chance to reach their full potential.
This breaking news is from the WOVU Newsroom.
We're back on Open Door with Vince Robinson and my guest, artist Antwoine Washington. As I said before the break, his exhibition, part of Imagine Otherwise, an exhibition being sponsored by the Museum of Contemporary Art Cleveland, is in progress through June, I believe, and then there will be another exhibition that we'll talk about just a bit more. So, again, it's absolutely fascinating, the concepts that you have going on in that mixed media installation. And I thought it was interesting the way you described how you designed it specifically for that space. What can you tell us about that space that is conducive to what you wanted to depict there?
Oh, the apartment in general?
Yes.
Yeah. So like what I wanted to do is I know like when Black folks come into certain sides of town, like we talked about earlier about like how Black folks is like, that's the West Side, that's where white folks are, we're gonna stay on our side, and then white folks are feeling the same way, vice versa. And so what I wanted to do is to create a space where stories could be told freely, where no one could be kind of like shunned for saying the true history or the true culture or whatever it is that you want to call it that's going on in America with my people, specifically Black people. And so I wanted to like make that space feel like a space where we can kind of tell our stories and feel at home, even though it's ironic that we're in a white space. And so it's almost like I'm just basically trying to, and it may sound funny to most people, but I just want to be able to say, hey, you can come into this space and feel at home because I'm bringing my spirit and I'm bringing the spirit of my ancestors into the space. And so when you come in, you are a part of it, and I want you to leave everything at the door, all your preconceived notions at the door. And when you walk into this space, don't feel as if you're out of place. You're at home. And so that was the whole purpose of me even wanting to do the shows for and elevate Black voices over there, is for those voices to be elevated right there in the middle of all of that, and to be able to say, hey, you can come over here with us and you can say what it is that you want to say without being shunned for it.
Antwoine, I'm going to read you the last two paragraphs of an article that I'm writing about your exhibition. And I guarantee this is going to trip you out. I say, in the adjoining living room, objects beckon attention. The shelf next to the fireplace sports a turntable. On the floor, a crate of records welcomes a glance at the Blackbirds album peeking through the sides. This art feels like home. It has reminders of the conflicts and traumas inflicted by the founding fathers. It adds descendants of the witnesses and unwilling participants in human cargo for sale in the New World. For a taste of it, the table awaits.
Wow. Man, look, you get it. Man, that's phenomenal.
Wow.
That you get it. Man, I'm so happy that you were able to get that. And so many, man, I'm just so happy I was able to that spark that, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless.
So, I want to dive into this whole idea of Black folk and art, because I am in the art world kind of as an innocent bystander of sorts, and I'm learning more about it. But one of the things that I'm learning is that there are not a lot of opportunities for Black artists to show their work. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, how things look for you. I mean, you created a space for yourself to show, and you opened it up to others. That speaks to a dearth of opportunities for artists in this community. So talk about what it's like to be an artist and not have that many options in terms of showing your work.
Yep. Yeah. It's tough. I remember me when I first came here, me just trying to figure out where do I start was tough. And so it's been very, very hard, and I've been blessed to just have a willpower to stick with an actual thing for a long period of time and see it through. But it's been super tough here in Cleveland because there's not very many spaces to show. And then even in some cases, in certain spaces that you show, is still territorial. It's still, the politics that you got to go through to get shows and to get people and to get in front of people, or even to get next to people. And so, I would say my journey was tough. I mean, it took me 5 years of me out of my almost 10 years being here to get this far. And so I can only imagine how others, who have been here longer and have been born and raised here, that's been trying to do stuff, if they have in creative spaces, how they feel. And so I just feel like it's only right from my standpoint is if, like I said in the beginning of this interview, was, no, I don't want to do anything that's self-serving, because I know how hard it is for us to get a look, or to be able to tell our stories, or to be able to get our voices elevated in any type of artistic way. And I know when we able to get in, it's just like hip hop. When we're able to get in and build something, we take it to the next level. And so I just knew if I got an opportunity, because I didn't have the opportunity when I came here to Cleveland to come in and have Black spaces where I was able to show my work, that I would do that and be able to add that to the pot of so many other great Black organizations that's led by Black folks here in Cleveland. And so, it's still tough, even though like you said, I had to build my own space to be able to tell stories like I'm telling now.
Yes. So being a man of your word, you have opened the space up to a fellow artist named Aaron Williams. Talk about your connection with him and what will come of the exhibition that he will do.
Yeah, so Aaron, I met Aaron at at the Black Lives Matter mural off of 93rd that was done on the street over there. And we just, I met him through another mutual friend who does a lot of public artwork. And man, we just ended up talking, and he was saying that he wanted to get back into art. I was telling him what I was trying to do and what I was trying to build during the pandemic. And so, like any other young artist, he was eager to find out more. And we just began to talk. We exchanged numbers. And we started to build that relationship around art and what it is that he wanted to do. And so when I was able to start doing the shows, I mean, I immediately reached out to him and said, hey man, it's an opportunity here for you to elevate your voice, and you be able to launch your career and hopefully do what it is that you want to do and say what it is that you want to say. I'm not sure that not every arts organization or institute will allow you to do that, but that's the whole purpose of us, is for you to be you. And so he loved the idea, and man, he's going to be doing his own solo show in June.
Well, he described his art in my interview with him, and one of the adjectives that he used was expressive. So I'm imagining that it's expressive, it's vibrant, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think I'm going to have to come back and see yours again, and maybe bring somebody with me, because I think that Cleveland needs to see what you've done over there. So we've talked about his future project. What do you have coming down the pike?
Yeah, well, I have another exhibition coming up in June that I don't know if I could talk about it yet, because everything is still but it will be an exhibition in June that will be that I have coming up. I will be doing a couple public art projects this summer. But yeah, I got and more programming around with the youth alongside. We have actually two programs coming up that we're doing with the youth, with collaborating with the Museum of Contemporary Art Cleveland, and more just things going on that side of me, just skill sharing with the youth, and also just another show lined up right after Aaron's show with a female Black artist who's going to be doing her solo show there in the space as well. And then just more and more, hopefully we can get more and more artists, Black artists of color, to just, come by and want to do shows. We have the space throughout the year, so we're just trying to fill the calendar up. And that's pretty much like what I got going on. Is I'm bouncing in between running the arts organization to try to elevate those voices that need to be heard. And then in the meantime, in between time, I'm doing my thing.
Okay. So you mentioned a further collaboration with Mocha Cleveland, and I think one of Miss Autry's objectives was to kind of open things up. Are you seeing progress on that front?
Yes. So it's I'll say it's one of these things where I have to give a lot of credit to LaTanya for being a trailblazer and being a brave woman to be able to hold those type of institutions accountable for not doing the things that they should have been done. And so I think one of the main things for us to even come along, for me to even sign on as an artist too, was to make sure that the youth in the community, black community in particular, are able to get programming, and they're tied to a Black organization that's really trying to go into those communities that's underserved and give the kids something to do and give them another creative outlet. And so they've afforded me and have made sure that we are in the driver's seat, and we are in total control over the programming and everything that we want to do and how we want to serve our kids and our youth. So I have nothing but good things to say about them on that front. They haven't given me any pushback. They've been super supportive.
Okay, good to hear. If folks are interested in reaching out to you and finding out the various things that you are doing, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. If you're on social media, Antwoine Washington, at Antwoine Washington on Facebook. You can hit me up on there. Email AntwoineWashingtonArt@gmail.com. Also, if you got any organization questions, you can reach us at info@Museum of Creative Human Art. Well, no, I said that wrong. info@Creative Human Art. And then Antwoine at curated-humanart.com as well. If you got any inquiries outside of my personal art, if you just want to talk about organization things, you can email me at either one of those two.
Okay, and I think it's important to tell folks that the way you spell your name is Antwoine.
Exactly, Antwoine. Not A, just don't forget the W.
Right. Okay. But we're not gonna call you W.
Right. Just don't call me W.
All right. Antwoine, it has been a pleasure to have this conversation with you, brother. I wish you success in all your future endeavors. And again, I'm going to encourage folks to go see that exhibition, as I will Aaron's exhibition, and we'll look forward to future art coming from your direction. Thanks for joining us on Open Door.
Man, thank you so much, Vince. Pleasure.
All right. You're listening to Open Door on WOVU. I'm Vince Robinson. We'll be back after this.
WOVU 95.9 FM and the Cuyahoga County Board of Health wants you to do your part and help all of us stay safe from the threat of COVID-19. The best protection against COVID-19 is to wear a mask, avoid crowds, stay 6 feet apart from others, wash your hands often, and get the vaccine when you are able. To learn more information about the COVID-19 vaccine and how to register when it's your turn, visit the Cuyahoga County Board of Health website at ccbh.net. That's ccbh.net. Do your part, because we're all in this together. This message is brought to you by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health and WOVU 95.9 FM, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Welcome back to Open Door. I have been joined by Robin Robinson. She is an artist. She's the co-executive director of Sankofa Fine Arts Plus, and she is the curator for a project called Crossroads, which is being sponsored by the Sculpture Center, a.k.a. the Cleveland Sculpture Center. Welcome to Open Door, Robin.
Thank you, Ben.
Glad to have you. So tell me about this great project. I'm involved in it, and that's how I know about it, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell Cleveland and the rest of the world about this fantastic project.
Well, I'm pleased to do so. Crossroads is 12 artists, local artists, African-American artists who are doing an augmented reality piece. Augmented reality meaning that you can't see this with your naked eye. You have to use a device, either your phone or iPad, something through an app. So they're doing actual paintings, photography, sculptures, and such on 12 different locations in 6 different African-American, primarily African-American communities on the east side of Cleveland. So each of these artists have selected a community or a neighborhood in one of these communities, and they with the community engagement. So they've been engaging with community members and residents in order to come up with concepts that are socially relevant or have some historical significance to these neighborhoods. They're actually painting, photographing, or sculpting a piece that will not only be presented digitally as an augmented reality piece in that site, but when they'll also simultaneously, and I'm sorry about this, I'm driving. So simultaneously, there will also be an exhibit at the Sculpture Center so that you can see, or the public can see, what the piece actually in physical form looks like. So it's an open air augmented reality piece, and then the same piece will be shown in reality, actuality at the Sculpture Center.
Okay. Where did the idea for this come from?
Actually, last year? It's because of COVID, my time has just slipped by. But Juneteenth, I think it was last year, Juneteenth, I put together an Artists Against Injustice rally at the courthouse. And we presented my mural, or my and Gary Williams' mural of Our Lives Matter, was projected and superimposed over the front of the courthouse in augmented reality. And because that had a good response, we decided, well, why stop there? And not only that, but because I am a serious advocate for the east side of Cleveland and the east side artists, African-American artists on the east side of Cleveland. I wanted to bring attention to these 6 particular communities that are typically ignored and have been ignored and or just used up for their resources from the rest of the city and the city government. So I wanted to bring attention to those particular neighborhoods and do it in a way that has never been done before in Cleveland.
Okay. So tell us which neighborhoods you're speaking of.
Well, of course, you'll put me on the spot. So it's Kinsman, it's Glenville, it's Buckeye. Who else?
Slavic Village, I believe.
Slavic Village, yes. And there's 2 more that I can't think of on the top of my head. Vince, can you think of them? Because you're part of this project also.
I can't think of them right now, but I'll charge it to your head and not your heart because I know it's in the right place.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Actually, I have just completed an article that's going to be in Can Journal next month. Its next issue will have an article about the project in there, and it will have a list of all 6 of the communities that I can't think of right now. And I apologize to those communities.
All right. So at this point in time, why do you think it's important to highlight the work of African American artists?
It's always important. But right now, I think because of the climate, because, the attention for African American art and or artists, it's crucial. We've been ignored, or maybe not ignored, but we don't get the attention on the east side that the west side gets. We don't get financial support that other artists that are favored by foundations and so forth get. It's important that people understand that we are here and we're strong and extremely talented, and there's no reason to pit us against each other, which happens more than I'd like to say as far as finances, as far as grants, as far as we need to be a force within ourselves. And I wanted to bring these 12 artists together to show that we are a force as a whole, African American artists. So, we're not in competition with each other, and we're not, in competition for funding or anything else. We are a force that needs to be recognized, and these communities need to be recognized.
Mm-hmm. Could you talk about the intentionality of the Cleveland Sculpture Center? Because I definitely see that they are making an effort to connect, and I'm reflecting on an exhibition that occurred there a couple years ago when it was overwhelming, the number of people, and I think Carrie Davis was involved in that, and it was a collection of their work that was presented to the community. And again, it was just an overwhelming response. But I was just wondering if you could comment on, the mantle that the Sculpture Center is taking on right now.
Well, the Sculpture Center has a new director, and the new director is Grace Chin. And she has a heart for the public. She wants to be the Sculpture Center to be known not as, an elitist type of, place like a lot of these Cleveland institutions are, but the Sculpture Center is a place of art, and art has no race, art has no color. And, it's something that is an expression no matter who does it. And for her to, be behind this program, she and I are we speak every day. I mean, she is hands-on as much as I am for this project. And, I have great respect for her and the efforts that she's putting in with the Sculpture Center. She has fought the board on many occasions to do things for this project. And, it's amazing that an institution like the Sculpture Center is so hands-on on something that's this vital, in community presence.
Okay. I know that at Sankofa Fine Arts, you've kind of made a pivot, from doing the grand shows that you were doing at places like Tri-C Eastern to moving into the public art realm, and you have quite a few murals up around Cleveland. What
Right.
are you working on now, aside from this project, to continue that work?
Well, we actually have 4 different projects or murals in the works for this year. 2 of them were put back because of COVID from last year. So typically what we like to do is at least one a year. So we couldn't do one necessarily last year. The one that we did, the vote mural on 91st and St. Clair, was the last one that we did before COVID actually hit hard. But this year we have 4 different murals that we have basically contracted to do. And they're all community engagement in some way. That's something that, we feel strongly about, that the community has a say in what is put in their environment that they have to live with. So they have to be engaged in that idea or that concept for that mural. So we go through a process where we get a core group or try core groups in different communities that these murals are going to be in, and they, over a matter of weeks, have discussions about who they are, what they want their community to be known for, or what they want people to know about that community. And that's pretty much how we get our concepts for the murals.
Okay.
So we have one that we're going to do on the side of our actual studio, which is on 114th and St. Clair. It's a storefront. It's a part of Trotter's Cleaners. And so we have that wall. We're going to put a mural there because you can see it from 105th Street. You can see that wall, pretty far. The other 3 murals, we're not sure about where we're going to put them. So we're always looking for, for spaces, for walls. If anybody wants to volunteer a wall, we don't charge for the building. So if you have a storefront or something and you have a wall that's visible to, the street or whatever, we don't charge the owners of the building to put the mural up there. But, we are grant-based. So we do have to go through the city and get permissions and all that sort of stuff, permits and everything to do it. But, we're always looking for buildings.
Okay. Well, I'd like to congratulate you in advance for the project that you're working on. I'm looking forward to seeing it come into fruition and looking forward to the exhibition that will take place at the Sculpture Center this July. Tell folks quickly how they can find out more about the project.
Well, the information is on the Sculpture Center website. Also, we will, like I said, I just wrote this article for Can Journal, which will come out in the next issue. So there'll be information on how to contact the Sculpture Center, how to contact Sankofa Fine Art Plus, and just keep your ears open because there's going to be information about this project throughout the up until July and into July until it's finished in August. It's exciting. It's something that's never happened in Cleveland before, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I'm glad you're a part of it too, Vince.
Me too. I'm really pleased. This is going to be a new chapter in my book as an artist. I want to thank you for being my guest on Open Door this morning, and thank my listening audience for tuning in. You've been listening to Open Door right here on 95.9 FM WOVU. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make it a great day.